Well, Life in Technicolor was, well, originally it was a fully fledged song, and which still exists, but we felt that the full-length song didn't fit on the record. But we were always very keen on the instrumental part of that song at the beginning should be the first thing on the record, just because it's uplifting and it's different and it sort of sets the tone for the rest of the album. So it wasn't really ever in question that that was what was going to be the first thing you would hear.
We wanted to start with A, the best ringtone of all time, and B, I didn't want to sing for a few minutes just so that people who didn't like us could enjoy it for a while. See what I mean? It comes out of insecurity but also confidence. It's that great dichotomy that we're very good at, which is feeling like we're the best band in the world, but also feeling like we haven't done anything good yet. So that's all encapsulated. The whole of our life is encapsulated in that 2 minutes of music. And that riff is, I'll say it myself, a good ringtone.
I've certainly got it on my phone.
You can. Cemeteries of London. That's inspired by those Marvel comics. Those dark blue and grey stories about ghosts and creatures, and it was inspired by trying to work out whether people really used to burn and drown witches in the olden days. And so we did this research about witch drowning, and that's where that song came out of, although the lines about drowning witches never... I don't think they made it, did they? No, they didn't make it. I don't know, it's our attempt at Thriller, really.
Well, when I think of Cemeteries of London, I definitely get an old London sort of Dickensian type black and white scene with lots of fog and kind of dark figures
Top
coming
hats.
in and out of it. It's a very visual song, actually, and it sort of stirs up quite specific imagery.
Yeah, I think what I remember Chris talking about, like, it reminds me of a graphic novel, just like one of those weird kind of old-fashioned, it's set in the 1800s or something, with lots of weird dark shapes and top hats and moustaches.
Marcus and Will were trying to sort of get, because it was it started kind of quite a regular 3/4 tempo, and Will was trying to get cross rhythms going. And
for me, it's a folk song in its structure and the bare bones of the song. When Chris first played it, it was just an acoustic guitar, 3/4, kind of quite jangly and strummy, and it has that kind of repeating the last line, which is quite common in a lot of folk songs. In that respect, it doesn't really have a chorus. The chorus is just one line, really. So I felt like, and actually with Marcus Dravs, we felt like there was something, we need to try and push it off balance a bit. And Marcus had an idea of trying to make it like an old dance hall song, that kind of boom, 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 and trying to make it a little more edgy. And we tried a few different kind of ways of doing that. But yeah, I think I'm very pleased with the way that turned out, because it was something that I was left alone to do. I would be happy just listening to the rhythm on that, you know. It's one of those really, for someone who's for a drummer, it's great to have something to work with like that, which is just so interesting and has so many ways you can take it.
Well, Lost is the cornerstone of the album. You know, there's always a song on our albums which is the cornerstone around which everything else gets written. And that one, for me anyway, is not necessarily for all of us, but for me that's the most important, in terms of, without that we wouldn't have got all the others. We wrote it in a sound check after we listened to that Blur song, Sing. And then Will, I don't know, I think Phil, our secret fifth member, said to Will, or someone said to Will, have you tried programming drums or something? And he said, no, I can't really be bothered. And then we came in the next day and he'd done this beat. It was the best beat ever. And he was like, He pretends not to be excited about it, but he is, deep down.
well, we'd been trying for about 2 years now to record a song that didn't have any choruses, didn't really have any verses, was just sort of, one section, another section, and into a different section. And 42 was the first time we were able to do it successfully.
Although every time we've tried that, we've called the song 42.
Yeah.
That's about the 9th 42. You know, it's our attempt at Bohemian Rhapsody, Paranoid Android, all those songs that we love that go A, B, C, D, E, F, G in structure. I'm talking structure here, kids. It's very complicated.
As Johnny mentioned, 42 was an attempt at an unconventional song structure. Chris mentioned Bohemian Rhapsody and Paranoid Android, but also the Beatles on Abbey Road did it as well, quite a lot. So there are definite sort of Beatles influences on that song, if people were to pick up on that. But I think it's total. It sort of became our own thing, and we've tried songs with ABC sections before and they haven't worked. So I think we were all really quite surprised and pleased when it actually came together as a tangible piece.
I remember there's obviously 3 totally distinct sections, and I remember loving all of them. But whenever we tried to play them through, they sounded like, how on earth is that going to work? How are you going to join those 2 sections? And it was, it was a real lesson in, if you're bold about things like transitions between sections that don't sound like they're going to work, if you really just hit them hard and go very, very, don't try and be too clever about it, the confidence kind of pulls it off, rather than, it doesn't sound silly, it just sounds natural, but you really have to let it do its work.